As we get started, we thought we'd just ask them both to kind of give us a little background before they met. We know you've read they grew up here in the Valley in Kings County. So we're going to ask each of them to kind of give a little background on their early years and maybe a little bit about also how their families got into any kind of spiritual mode. Joe?
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind invitation today, and we're very honored to be here, and especially on a day when Dr. Mijas was honored. And thank you, Demi, for those words. I'm going to say just a little bit about my background. I grew up in Hanford, which is just south of here. I was raised by my mother and my grandparents, my mother's parents, and I would say that I learned so much from them about religion and their beliefs, their values. Most of those came from them and from my mother. And later, when Mary and I were confirmed, which we did in the church here in Clovis when I worked for UC Merced here some years ago, and we decided to have as our sponsors for confirmation my grandfather, and then Mary chose her grandmother. And that was a very special occasion, and that was a time for us where we re-engaged in I think a deeper way with those values and the church. And so it happened actually here, and then we moved on to Santa Barbara and to San Francisco, and that stayed with us. But I'd say that reconnection happened while we lived here in the Valley.
I grew up in Layton. I know that's a big place, and all of you are very familiar with it, so I don't need to describe it very much. My father milked cows for over 40 years for Jack Grimes Dairy in Layton, and almost every memory I have of growing up is of being surrounded by my cousins. Every night after my dad would get done milking, we'd go over to my grandmother's house, and it wasn't just a thing that happened on Sundays, it was a thing that happened every day, where I could look forward to getting to be around my cousins, getting to be with my grandmother and my aunts and uncles, and having that wonderful sense of belonging that came with that. Our family growing up was all Catholic, and every Wednesday we would march from Layton Elementary School over to Our Lady of Fatima Church for catechism all together. And it was a great experience for me because I was able to meet women who were very strong in their faith, who I learned from them about the partnership between a husband and a wife that they modeled for me, and their commitment to their families, that I feel like it has been a very strong foundation in my personal beliefs and has helped me to be a partner for Joe that I feel I should be. There's one story I'd like to share with you just to let you know how we came about that. As we were moving around and going to different places for Joe's career, we were not active in going to church. We didn't attend Mass. But there was a Thanksgiving, and it was in 1999, when we were traveling from Clovis to Hanford to be with our family, and we were hit head-on by a truck that we saw it at the last second. We were in a much smaller car. It was a huge truck, and he was going over 80 miles an hour. At the moment that I saw it, the words that came out of my mouth were, "Jesus, save our family." And he did. There was no other explanation why our family was able to walk away from that vehicle without any of us having any injuries. And it was after that major moment in our life that Joe and I said, we need to be practicing our faith actively. We know what God has done for us to this point. We can't take it for granted. And that was when we started going back to church, and that was when we committed ourselves as adults to our faith.
So in what ways can you use your faith as part of your job, part of being on campus, talking to a lot of young people, being a mentor in several ways, but that faith line, how do you work that out?
That's a great question, and I think I'm still feeling my way through that. What I try to do is to live my life as a professional and as a person in the same way. So I carry my values, my personal values, with me throughout the day. And I think that the way they translate for me is that I need to be honest and upfront, and to ask others to do that as well, and to act according to my values, and to do that in a consistent way. And thankfully, I feel like I have not been challenged in any particular difficult way where that has been a problem. And at the same time, I realize that our students and our faculty and staff, they have a wide variety of beliefs, and that's really one of the beautiful things about a university, is it brings together so many people from different backgrounds. So I think that as president, I just need to make sure that my values translate into those things that I think everybody can support, which is, transparency in our processes and our decision making, that people know that when the university does something that it is based on appropriate policies and procedures, and that it's just honest and upfront. And I've tried very hard to listen to the community as I've gone about the work, because I think it's really important for the university to reflect the community's interest as much as universities are special institutions that also help shape how communities feel. So there's a really dynamic relationship that occurs between universities and society. And as president, I want to continue to facilitate that, support that, and I think it's just really important as the university president to do everything I can to continue that.